It's come as a strategy game. Okay, so nothing for me. All 3? Okay, I have to kindly remind me again at the end of stream. I will take a look at that. I didn't know. Look, I'm learning something every day. Okay, bye-bye, Duffy. Have fun. Bye-bye. Try this. I think it might make for a good ferret replacement. This is strong and magic-y, but it's not as soft as petting a ferret. Still, I love it. I'll have to remember this one for next time. What is it called? Don't worry, I'll remember it for you. Thank you. They're adorable. Look at them! Oh my god. Now, Miss Enver, what would you like? I need some of that liquid vigilance. Even in here, it's important to stay on guard. You bought a PlayStation 2 secondhand and patched it for power. I still have my old PlayStation 2. I even have a PlayStation 1. I'm a console hoarder. What can I say? What can I say? I'm a fucking console hoarder. I also have a Dreamcast. Yeah. I own them. Wouldn't this be the right time to relax? There is no such time. Alright, then I shall aid you on your divine mission of not falling asleep standing. I love the Dreamcast. Hey, the Dreamcast was like ahead of its time. Why is my cat screaming? What is it? You have food. I checked before I started stream. Why are you screaming? I'll tell you, cats. They're like little kids. That is not it. This one. We need a lot of blue. 1, 2, 3. Some red. And some yellow orange. Yes. There we go. There we go. Some liquid vigilance diluted with some delicious secret ingredients. Enjoy. I could do with something less diluted, but you're right. It's delicious. Happy to hear that. Now, I believe you have earned yourself a story. Please go ahead. Clay, do you want to start? No, I think you should go first. I missed your whole investigation. I suppose that is correct. Well then, as you already know, Innkeeper, I plan to start investigating right here in Zenith. Specifically at the Fallen West Gate. It was a depressing sight to behold. So I've been told. I assume either Melina or the vampire caught you up on their observation. Both, actually, but Melly went into a lot more details. Mostly about those wildfire badgers. Ah, yes. It was reckless of them to sneak after me like that. I'm glad I was there to save them. Me too. Unfortunately, the rubble did not hide anything of value to me. But fortunately, thanks to your rumors, I was not entirely without a lead. The wizard's prophecy led me to Delville. Or should I say, the Abandoned Isle, or Fair Weather. The name changes depending on who you ask. I didn't know it had that many names. I always just called it Kelpie Island. Why? Because it's shaped like one? Probably the smartest approach. Kelpie Island, or Fairweather, its name means very little to me. Its local settlement of Fae was much more relevant. They built everything into the giant What? That holds a portal to Avalon. Their portal is in the tree? Yes, right in its center. They call it the Horizon Tree. It's beautiful. C'est quoi? I'm pronouncing that French for some reason. The European in me rather pronounces shit in French than English. I'm sorry. And the Fae themselves were not as helpful as I'd have hoped. They didn't seem to understand the severity of the situation. Instead, they were much more interested in trying to sell me the rubbish. Oh, it's a tree. Oh, like a type of tree, I guess. Look, biology class was not my strongest subject. Back in the days whenever I went to school. Kept going on and on about how I desperately needed one of their acorn amulets. When I inspected one, the magic was so chaotic, I could barely concentrate on its aura. All it gave me was a headache, so I passed on the allegedly grand opportunity. Seems like you dodged a scam. Or a pretty necklace. Scam seems more accurate. It does. Acorns aren't used for much besides culinary magic, but they do make for good ice cubes. Do you have any? Not at the moment, sorry. I prefer it that way. Anyhow, when I rejected their offer, they told me I was worse than an astral humpback whale. When I inquired into the meaning of that phrase, they told me such a whale had destroyed one of their scouting camps just a couple days ago, and that apparently my rejection of their generous offer was a bigger slight. They didn't wish to elaborate further, but I had what I needed. No acorns, I assume? No, but a hint towards something that had caused unusual chaos very recently. Even if it had nothing to do with the starfall, this creature clearly posed a threat to the settlement. So I'm not sure what you would have done next, actually. Go swimming for a whale? Of course not. One would not find such a creature in the ocean. Obviously, I knew that. I can just paraphrase myself. Biology wasn't my strongest subject. But it can be summoned with a celestial summoning ritual, which you know how to do. Naturally. So when night fell, I made my way to the nearby Carapace beach and prepared to summon a whale. I don't think that's biologically proven that you can summon a whale. I don't mean to question your methods, but if you were going to summon an astral creature for answers, couldn't you just have summoned Cassiopeia herself? She would know what's going on, I'm guessing. Are you out of your mind? Summon a dragon? The Realm Keepers have sworn a divine oath of neutrality that prevents them from directly interfering with the simple world of us mortals. The full might of their powers could disrupt the delicate balance of their cosmic design. Hi, Obama. Welcome, welcome. Right. Sorry. Might slip my mind? You are forgiven. Unfortunately, my ritual was not as picture perfect as I would have liked it to have been. I was not able to find any flimmering limpet shells, so had to fall back to different ones, which meant the protective properties were a bit out of balance. I knew this meant that the whale was likely to break out of the protective bound of my summoning circle. By the way this old lady looks, that's what I feel right now about hearing the story. But sometimes risks are necessary. You could have just waited for the tides to bring in new shells. I did not have the time. Or the idea. I was prepared to defend myself. I did not need to waste time on alternative solutions. And except for the minor lack of protection, the ritual went off without a hitch. Normally, the burning of the shells would have scorched my hands, but luckily I happened to be fireproof at that very moment. How convenient. When the last shell burned to a crisp, a colossal astral humpback whale appeared out of the sky in a wave of concerning darkness. Stars used to accompany them. I mean, there was one star. There was. The whale was even bigger than I had anticipated, almost as tall as the horizon tree, and in its stomach rested a giant sun, the only star of the night sky whose light had not been extinguished. So you brought it down. We had one star remaining, And you decided to bring it down as well. That sounds beautiful. No, it sounds dangerous. The creature was out of its mind the moment it fully materialized. I expected some initial hostility, but it did not even hesitate to attack me. Sounds like a very angry whale? Or a very hurt one? I admit it was a tough foe. Its bite was strong and coated in the fire of a swallowed star. It attempted to swallow me too. Several times. Most of its attack could not damage me, of course. Thanks to your drink, it had no chance against my defenses. But it was still a massive beast, and my attacks alone were not enough to bring it down. And that's where Clay came in? Exactly. My mace was in its maw, and we were locked in a contest of strength, when suddenly, someone pushed it into the waves, granting me a moment to collect myself. Moments later, Clay was by my side. Together, we were able to vanquish the beast. Were you there for the whale too? No, I was collecting seashells. Seashells? Yes, for my friends. At this time of year, Kelpie Island is full of all kinds of sparkling, floating animals from the astral sea. And they love munching on seashells. Do you encounter these creatures a lot? I try to, they're very nice. Usually, at least. But when I saw Tia fighting that whale, I had to step in. It looked terrified, you know. Every time the moonlight hit her armor, it bared its teeth like it was trying to scare her off. After I pushed it out of her way, I thought I should try to calm it down. I tried communicating with it, told it to stop, but it seemed too scared to even hear me, or in too much pain. In pain? Every time it moved, it seemed to wince slightly, like when you carry logs all day and someone asks you to help rearrange the kitchen. But I didn't have enough time to figure out what was wrong. It jumped right back at Tia, and Tia right back at it. I did notice Clay trying to speak with it at first, and I considered stepping back for a moment, but I could not risk anyone else getting hurt. No doubt it would have ravaged the camp again, perhaps even the settlement. So, you didn't manage to calm it down? No. I realized that I could only save one of them, so I pushed away my worries and helped Tia defeat it. He's a remarkable fighter. His incredible tenacity and brute force helped me defeat it quite quickly. Tia kept the attack focused on her, and I dealt the final blow. When his weapon struck its body for the final time, it and the star in its belly exploded into stardust, and then slowly settled into the Caribbee Sea. It was like 1,000 tiny stars, all now floating in the deep blue. Well, that sounds beautiful. It doesn't sound like you found the information you were looking for, Tia. I did not. I was hoping to examine its body, but all that was left were miniature stars seemingly stuck to the waves gently crushing into the sand. She was really frustrated, so I suggested we could try talking to its ghost, like my granny likes to do. She said that astral whales don't have ghosts. Which seemed wrong to me. They already have the perfect translucent body for it. The ghost was the dead end, but it did give me an idea. Through my innate connection to Cassiopeia, I realized I could try to commune with its fading essence through the stars it had left behind. Of course, I do not speak whale, but Clay does. You do? I can talk to animals. You are full of surprises. Thank you. Though I'm not always sure they like talking to me. They tend to disappear sooner or later. Sometimes they come back, but often they don't. I think maybe I accidentally say things that upset them without realizing it, and they think I'm meant to hurt them. It was a third game related to Sonic franchise for Flicky? Do you mean Flicky Island? I mean, the Flickies are technically characters in Sonic. I hate when it happens. You mean they just disappear like they were never there? Yes, like they moved to a different, quieter beach. Or like they returned to the astral sea. You need to rescue them from each round? Do you mean like the 3D Sonic game? Oh, you don't mean the 3D Sonic game, no. That wasn't 1984. Wait, Sonic exists in 1991. That's been like 7 years before the first Sonic game. I feel like they would tell me if they went back home. Not necessarily. Many Austrian creatures can traverse the planet at will, but they don't always have control over when they return. On many occasions, the astral currents pull them back home before they're ready. And once you've stepped up in them, each subsequent journey out becomes more and more difficult. Or so I've been told. I would guess your friends either went home and you weren't there or got pulled back before they had a chance to say goodbye. So you're saying the sea swallowed them? Not quite. It just beckoned them home through a celestial hug of sorts. So that means I could just visit them in the astral sea? That would be an incredible undertaking. Traveling between planes is quite hazardous. It is, but echoes are from the primordial sea and my family has lived here for quite a while, I think. They must have gotten here somehow. To say it was much simpler to traverse between planes once, but for a long time it has been almost impossible, without complicated and dangerous rituals. Until recently, the astral sea was the only possible way to pass through the barriers. And accessing it requires meticulous planning, not to mention the sea tends to come with more risks and rewards. Yeah, because like the way you guys explained it, it did sound like the 3D Blast game. Even your Austrian friends who can choose to leave their home plane on a whim get pulled back by the currents eventually. Imagine what would happen to you if you went in unprepared. But the Fae on Kelpie Island aren't from Gaia either, and they told me they haven't lived here for very long. Since the 5 interplanar portals opened up, interplanar travel has become a lot more accessible again. At least when it comes to the dream planes. But even the astral and primordial seas, not to mention Ur, are finally open to us again after all these years. It is a true miracle to witness in our lifetimes. So the portals haven't always been there? I didn't know that. Who put them there? Well, that is a very good question. The cats don't have glasses, then I don't want it. Then I don't want it. One that will blow the scope of this conversation beyond its bounds, I would think. You still have to tell me what came of your conversation with the Bell's essence. You're right, we're getting off track. I prepared a second ritual, this time a much gentler one, and with Clay's cooperation in mind. And you got Clay were there to help you, Clay? Aren't you happy she was there? Yeah, say thank you to Clay. You probably didn't say thank you yet. I suppose I am. You really are? You are surprisingly competent. Perhaps one might even say I couldn't have done this entirely without you. If one was to be extreme about it. I think someone like you could do anything alone if you put your mind to it. But that doesn't mean you should have to. I'm always happier when doing difficult things if I have help from other people. Well said, Clay. Stellar teamwork, you two. Keep it up. Will do. When I was done with my preparations, I kneeled down in the celestial waves, Clay's warm hand in mine, and I prayed to the Lady of Gilded Sea that she would allow us a glimpse of the slain creature's soul. Did it work? Of course it did. It felt like bathing in a river of stars, but the stars have feelings and aches and even more feelings. It's tough. It's thoughts. To be fair, you guys have a lot of words that start exactly with this letter combination. It means thoughts. But like a song of ice on fire. It sounded so scared and cold and sad. Cold is not what I would have expected from a whale with a star in its belly. Me neither, but that's when I realized what was wrong. why it had looked so sickly and grey. The whale had been cursed with a potent frostbite that had frozen its body from the inside out, a very painful condition that would drive anyone to madness. If you're scared, angry, and hurt enough, you'll do a lot of things you might later regret. Together, we dove deeper into its memory and discovered how it had been afflicted. It fought some sort of evil creature on 2 legs that kept throwing things at it. A creature on 2 legs? A humanoid then? We assume. It turns out whales don't care much about our appearances, so its memories were blurry at best. During the fight, it swallowed some kind of stone that made its song turn black and white. It tasted horrible. But when you're a whale, you don't really worry about swallowing stones. You worry about a 2-legged monster throwing things at you. I would too. Just wanting to escape, it fled as quickly as it could, trying to find its way home. It felt really bad about destroying the camp. I get why. The worst part about being angry is seeing the wreckage you leave behind. Luckily, its anger subsided when it found its way back. It thought it was finally safe, but suddenly, this freezing cold began. I don't mind the cold much. Oh, his shoulder thing is moving. I'm from the Highlands, and we get a lot of snow in the winter. But the kind of cold it felt was awful. Painful and inescapable, like it was freezing from the inside out. The potent frostbite I mentioned. It seems the curse took hold and slowly spread throughout its entire body. It tried to keep itself warm by feeding on solar crabs and cosmic squid, but that didn't help much. It just kept getting more scared and angrier, older, until even its brain was freezing over. It couldn't think of anything other than the cold. So, in its desperation, it ate the hottest thing it could find. Star. A star. A giant one, at that. It looked deceptively small, contained in its belly. But apparently, it was one of the biggest ones the night sky had to offer. The East Star. It ate Ferris? The guiding star of the endless seas? It did. And it helped. It kept its frostbite at bay, even it did not eradicate it. But as you can imagine, such a massive star disappearing did not have the most desirable effect on the astral sea's delicate balance of gravity. I can imagine that. The whale was very confused about what had happened. It looked like all the stars suddenly started to fall and spin out of place. They crashed into each other, causing more and more destruction with each passing moment. So, wait. But we got a letter that said, hey, there is a firework when you read it. And then you can't... No. They might have planned that out in the hopes that the whale is gonna eat a star and then the balance is gonna tip? Because else that would have been just such a coincidence. You can't tell me that that's such a coincidence happening. I didn't understand all of what had happened, but it felt bad. To label it as bad would be quite the understatement. The falling stars ripped holes in Cassiopeia's wings. To think that just one hungry creature could break the entire balance of the universe. It was hurt and scared. It should have endured instead of hurting others. It didn't know what it was doing. Yeah, not everyone is as strong as you are. Well, they should try to be. I don't like her. The paladin, too paladining. Too much paladining. The whale's legacy is destruction. I doubt it wanted that. Maybe not. It certainly left behind a small natural wonder. It seems that even the darkest moments leave behind some light. They do. I just wish it hadn't cost a life. Sometimes that's what heroism is about. Sacrifice. Nah, don't kid yourself. Heroism is about fun and making new friends. Hi, by the way. Hi. The whale caused the stars to fall from the sky. I wouldn't call that fun. The friends part usually comes first. I'm not particularly interested in making friends with creatures that cause so much damage. My dear, you could learn a lot from giving people some grace rather than condemning them for all eternity. Sometimes granting strangers the space to grow can change everything. The beast could have grown into a supernova. Or into a new eastern star. I couldn't have taken such a risk. You seem like you have control issues. Maybe try being more like your friend here. You know how to let loose, right, buddy? I think I'm pretty fun at parties, if that's what you mean. But sometimes when I let loose, people get hurt. Like that whale. So maybe Tia's right. Self-control is important. My, you're all a bunch of moopy clowns. And you are incredibly unconcerned about the impact of letting something that dangerous live. Yeah. If I had continued causing trouble, this weirdo over here would have just made another quest out of it. But I guess you're too young to understand the virtue of taking it easy. With age, you learn things just happen as they happen, over and over again. It sounds like you just want to avoid taking responsibility for your role in that cycle. I intend not to be a part of it. I intend to actually change things. Ha! So far you seem like a pretty standard cleric. Maybe, oh, sorry, she's not a paladin, she's a cleric. My bad, I'm sorry. my D&D lore is not loring. Maybe a bit too paladin from... Look, I just called her, she's paladining too hard. I just hope you can live with the changes you cause, because you're gonna have to. I'm ready to take responsibility. At least that's better than apathy. The dragons, I did not miss religious zealotry. Anyway, let me get another drink for me. I'm running dry. Anytime, Una? What would you like? Are you still running low on energy? How about a stronger one? You got it. Okay, they want another... They're gonna get this time. That means we're gonna put in a lot of reds. Some of this. One of the blue. And that should be it. Something strong for the most strong-headed lady I know. We'll wait to admit you've lost every argument against me. But this drink is splendid. I'll give you that. What are you gonna do now, kid? Now that your big bad whale is defeated? Find out who was behind this. Clearly the whale was merely the byproduct of some sort of agenda. I must find out what that is. Justice never sleeps, does it? It cannot afford to. No one is going to thank you for breaking yourself to the bone. People usually prefer you sticking around instead. Which is something I'm not gonna do right now because I have a card game to win. Good luck with your agendas. I apologize on her behalf. That's fine. Tia, do you want to go? No. She was just being overly dramatic. Oh, I see. Maybe we should listen to her advice, at least a little bit. My granny always says, with age comes the priceless wisdom of mistakes. And the lady was right, you could use some rest. I think she greatly underestimates the importance of the situation. Both of those things can be true at the same time. Clay, you do have a point that age can bring wisdom few of us can otherwise aspire to. Perhaps the knowledge we need to uncover this conspiracy lies not in the future, but in the past. After all, the past is full of terrible disasters that were prevented, which means that this too could have been attempted before, if not very successfully. Knowledge of something so wild must be scarce and well guarded, maybe even abandoned. I am... Sorry. I have never come across anything like this, anywhere in the Aperture's library. Granted, the Aperture has only been standing for a little over 2 decades now. Its library can't be that vast. Many of the Order's books were okay, we're reaching the point where I cannot read anymore. Were relocated to the new stronghold. But I do believe that we don't currently harbor the knowledge I seek, but that other avenues must be explored. What are you considering? We could ask everyone we come across until we find someone who knows something. Good idea, but that would take far too long. I think we should look for the Everbloom archives. Is that a book club? An ancient one. Everbloom was one of the great three archives. The Gaian one, to be specific. Legend has it there used to be one on each plane, even two on the plane of the dead. They were once filled with all the knowledge of the cosmos and grew in size every day, thanks to their fearless archivists. But then they fell to an unknown foe and have been lost to time ever since. So you wanna go and find them? I believe one of them could hold the answer we seek. Innkeeper, do you perhaps know where to find this archive? Nope, not much of a librarian, unfortunately. Disappointing. I'm here to disappoint you every day. But you could keep an eye out for it, right? You could ask all the scholarly people that pass through here. Of course, I can do that. Perhaps you can start by asking that bounty hunter when she's done gambling all her money away. You could ask her yourself. I would rather not. I'll take that terrible task off your hands then. Wonderful. You won't need more than a day to take care of all this, right? I could do with a little more time. Nonsense. You don't have more time. It depends how many people gonna visit my tavern. I need your full commitment on this, innkeeper. This is very short notice. As are disasters, typically. Hence the vigilance, I shall return to a fully prepared quest tomorrow morning. Okay. In the meantime, you should rest. Don't be ridiculous. I have things to do, people to help, prayers to consult. Una was right. A good night's sleep would do wonders for you. I could even offer you some coupons to a beautiful swamp spa. I'm not interested. If I rest now, who will this world have faith in? I shall see you tomorrow. So far, my least favorite character.